The sedan is a dying breed in America, but luckily, if you still want a car, Kia's got you covered with this very stylish and unique Kia K5. But what if you want to take your K5 on a long road trip and do quite a bit of highway driving? What kind of fuel economy will it get? This is Christopher Brower here with Daily Motor, and today we're running the real-world highway fuel economy test on the 2022 Kia K5 GT line all-wheel drive. Before we get started, let's hop out and take a look around it. I have always loved the way these look since they came out just about a year ago. I think Kia has absolutely nailed the styling and given people an option to still buy a car, and one that looks really good. This one's finished in wolf gray. It's got a red interior. It is the GT line trim, not the full GT, more of just an appearance pack, but we do have quite a bit of nice options on the inside as well. This is also an all-wheel drive car, so keep that in mind before you're watching this fuel economy test. It's not going to perform quite as well as a front-wheel drive car. We are on the stock Pirelli all-season tires today, and man, does this thing look good. I've been driving around in all kinds of salt and slush and things like that, and this wolf gray actually hides the dirt pretty well. I'm very impressed. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So then, why do we perform this test? Well, the EPA's fuel economy test, which gives this K5 GT line all-wheel drive 33 MPG on the highway, only averages 48 miles per hour, and we know that quite a few people like to take their cars on actual road trips. So in this test, we set out 50 miles out and 50 miles back, averaging 70 miles per hour to get an actual real-world figure. A couple things worth noting today. Outside temperature is 28 degrees Fahrenheit. The tires have been filled up to their door. Placard indicated 35 PSI cold. And we're going to be running the climate control at 73 degrees auto. All right, let's go ahead and hop out and do our first fill. All right, and just about 8 gallons in there for our first fill. All right, let's go ahead and reset our trip before we get this car started today. Oh, and the car has reset itself for me. How excellent. Let's go ahead and set this climate control to 73 degrees auto as well. Go ahead and get started. All right. A couple of different drive modes on this Kia K5. Sport, Custom, Snow, Smart, and Normal. We're going to be driving this in Smart mode today to stay as economical as possible. All right, guys, highway's about a half mile away. I will meet you when I am merging on. All right, merging onto the highway now. Now, the purpose of this test is not to hypermile. What we're going to do is get on the highway, set the cruise control to a GPS-indicated 72 miles per hour to hopefully average 70 miles per hour throughout the whole trip. Not going to be doing any drafting or anything like that. Just going to get on here, drive normally, go 50 miles out, 50 miles back. Let's see what kind of fuel economy this Kia K5 GT line all-wheel drive can achieve. All right, and our cruise control is set to 72, and on our first highway impressions, this K5 is pretty comfortable. I've got to say, I'm always impressed with what Kia does as far as driver aids as well on the highway. We've got a very sophisticated steering assist as well as lane keep assist. I've got both of those active, and this thing will pretty much drive itself for this next 100 miles. So looking forward to that. Otherwise though, the wind noise isn't too bad. The seats seem to be pretty comfortable, and I'm also a fan of the driving position, the visibility out of this K5. Everything is quite nice. So with all that out of the way, I'm going to go ahead and get to driving, and I'll see you guys in about 95 miles. All right, guys, we are finishing up our highway fuel economy test now on this Kia K5 GT line. Had a pretty smooth run today. No major complaints here in this Kia K5. It's actually very comfortable. All of the driver aids work as intended. They do a very good job keeping you centered in the lane, as well as controlling the steering wheel and just keeping everything nice and easy. As far as the radar guided cruise control works, it's a little less aggressive than I would want it to be. Even on the closest setting, it hangs back quite a bit, and when you're passing, it doesn't quite get into the power, the throttle, as much as I would hope for it to, as immediately as I would hope, I guess I should say. But other than that, I mean, this thing has been fantastic. Super smooth ride. The seats themselves, soft material and soft overall, nice and comfy. My back doesn't hurt after this 100-ish mile trip. I'm so impressed. And I know I say this time and time again, but with Kia, Hyundai, Genesis, what they're able to do for such a low price with these driving aids. I mean, you can get something very similar to this in a Kia Forte or an even cheaper Kia K5. All of their cars are available with this steering assist, and I just think that that's absolutely fabulous. It takes off so much stress for long road trips, and I'm not saying that you should be distracted when you're driving down the road playing Wordle or whatever. But it helps if you want to let the car steer for a second, if you've got to take a jacket off, if you're like me and you've got to put a camera on your face. It helps that this thing can steer itself for 20-30 seconds while you're doing something else, and it's got the radar, it can brake for you, everything. I would put my trust in this Kia, in a Hyundai, in a Genesis, because the system is that good. And sure, you can say, oh well, Mercedes-Benz, sure, in Cadillac, they've got their good systems, but this isn't a car that's 30 grand. What kind of Mercedes, what kind of Cadillac are you getting for 30 grand that's able to perform this well? They're not out there. So kudos to Kia, Hyundai, and Genesis for making just such nice cars for such an affordable price, such an accessible price. And I just really love that about it. I always love when we have these for our fuel economy tests. I can go out and the car will do most of the work for me. I mainly just sit here and listen to music. Or in this case, Doug DeMuro, and I was so drowned out by the Doug DeMuro. He was serenading me in such a way that I missed my initial exit. So our trip's a little bit longer than normal, but it's okay because we also have the correct GPS indicated mileage for this journey as well. Indicated here on the car's trip computer, 32.9, so just about that 33 MPG EPA rating indicated. We'll have to see once we actually get off the highway and do some math to see how accurate that number actually is. All right, guys, we are exiting the highway here. I will go ahead and catch up with you once I've got the Kia K5 brimmed with petrol. All right, and 3.19 gallons in for our final fill. Let's go ahead and figure out what that adds up to. All right, so we know that the trip we did today was 108.4 miles. Divide that by our 3.19. That gives us 33.98. So rounding up here to 34 MPG. This Kia K5 GT line all-wheel drive has beaten the EPA's estimate by pretty dang close to 1 mile per gallon. Cool, so we know 33.98 miles per gallon. We have a 15.8 gallon tank in this K5. That gives you an effective highway cruising range of 530 miles. That is excellent. In fact, I was reading through the comments on my Ford Bronco fuel economy test, which had an effective cruising range of like 330 miles, and someone was like, 330 miles, that's terrible. And this really puts things in perspective. This thing can go like 200 miles more than the Ford Bronco. So I know it doesn't really compare, but 530 miles of highway cruising range, about 34 MPG. So pretty impressive. Keep in mind also it's 28 degrees outside. So during a nice summer day, you may even squeeze out another mile per gallon out of this Kia K5 GT line all-wheel drive. Overall, a really impressive car, very good looking car, very comfortable car, tons of driver aids, very economical, especially for an all-wheel drive vehicle like this. So would I recommend this car? Yes, I would. I think that it is fabulous, and it's really impressed me today with its performance. So thank you all so much for watching. Appreciate you sticking around and seeing our final results for this Kia K5. This has been Christopher Brower with Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.